This young volcanic island has no rivers, no forests, and barely any soil, yet it's a biodiversity hotspot. In the seawater surrounding the island, dolphins, sea lions, and other marine life thrive. And although it may not appear to have a thriving terrestrial biosphere, let's just say there's more here than meets the eye. On a recent Geological Society of America field trip, we got to explore this island both on foot and by snorkeling, all while learning about its incredible geology and biology. And turns out, the geology of this island is what makes all this biodiversity possible. So let's talk about it, starting with how this island formed in the first place. This island, Isla Coronado, looks quiet today, but not long ago, geologically speaking, it was actively erupting. The Gulf of California region is part of an active rift system where the Baja Peninsula is slowly separating from mainland Mexico. As the crust stretches and thins, magma rises to the surface and builds volcanic islands like Coronado. All these rocks around me are basaltic lava flows, just like the basalt that makes up Iceland, Hawaii. But just how long ago were these rocks flowing? Although this region is actively rifting, this particular island has not seen any volcanic activity in recent human history. That said, in geologic time, estimates suggest these lava flows are relatively young. Most estimates suggest the youngest flows here formed in the late Pleistocene, potentially a few 100,000 years ago. But the Baja region as a whole has experienced much more recent volcanism, just several thousand years ago. But it's this geologic history that has shaped the landscape here. These jagged black and gray cliffs are all made of basalt from these ancient lava flows. But right below the surface, the seafloor drops off fast. This steep bathymetry is a direct result of volcanic island building, and it turns out it plays a big role in shaping the biosphere here, because it changes the way the ocean circulates around the island. The island disrupts currents, forcing water to move upward, and this brings nutrient-rich deep water to the surface. This process is called upwelling, and it's one of the most important drivers of nutrient cycling that sustains marine ecosystems. See, in the water column of a typical ocean margin, you have primary producers, or photosynthesizers like algae at the surface, producing oxygen. And as the algae die and fall through the water column toward the sea floor, they're eaten by larger organisms, and so on up the food chain. But this production of oxygen at the surface and the downward movement of dead organic material leads to a stratified system, where the surface water is oxygen-rich but nutrient-poor, and the bottom waters are nutrient-rich but oxygen-poor. And this is why the vertical mixing or upwelling and downwelling of the water column is such an important process for sustaining marine ecosystems. So if you're wondering why there's dolphins, sea lions, massive schools of fish, and seabirds here, this mixing process plays a large role. The geology, specifically the topography of the region, also helps create the perfect living habitats for the sea lions here. They rely on rocky outcrops for resting and breeding, nearby deep water for hunting, and high productivity for food, all of which are controlled by the shape and structure of this volcanic island. But another thing you might notice when you get to the beach is black volcanic rocks, but bright white sand. That's because they come from completely different systems. The black rock comes from volcanic basalt, and the white sand from broken shell fragments and marine organisms. So even though this island was built by lava, the beaches are built by life. If you look closely, you can actually see both dark grains from volcanic rock and white grains from biological material. But if this island is a biodiversity hotspot for ocean life, what about life on land? Well, terrestrial life here is much more limited, but still fascinating. Volcanic islands start out barren, dry, and nutrient poor, but over time, weathering breaks the rocks down, plants begin to colonize, soils start to form, and eventually, the seemingly harsh environment of a recent lava flow becomes part of the ecosystem. This is something I'll talk more about in a later video I did on a second GSA field trip, so stay tuned for that. So what began as a geologic hotspot became a biodiversity hotspot. Okay, I'm kidding. The rifting here did not begin as a hotspot. It's a plate boundary. Don't come at me. I just really wanted that wordplay to work, okay? Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and want to get out and explore on one of these amazing GSA field trips, make sure to check the link below to browse upcoming trips.
Wow.